Installing the Sharepoint client for NAV is requiring that you have Sharepoint first. This one is a 2008 server version, and I'm going to install the free Sharepoint foundation in here. And I already downloaded it. It's available from Microsoft's site, so you can download the foundation for 2010 for free. It's going to take a while installing all the prerequisites and also running the install, but basically the only thing you need to do in here is you have to install software prerequisites, and there's a whole long list of them. And I would just hit OK and accept the license and next, and then it's going to install all those prerequisites that is in here. So everything finished installing here, and it can happen that sometimes it will stop at one point and error out. Just rerun the install prerequisites and it will actually work again here. So next thing is to install the Sharepoint foundation, and this one will has an option to use an existing SQL server, but it's really better to just let it install its own 2008 SQL server, even if there's an update or an existing one. But I need to go here and restart, so I'll go here. Yeah, that's fine. I'll exit here and then restart my server. So my server is now restarted, so I will start my Sharepoint services install again here, or Sharepoint Foundation. I'm done with all the prerequisites, so the next thing now is actually to install the Sharepoint Foundation. And I want to accept the terms. And I want to do a standalone, and it will install another SQL server, but that's the best option because it won't mess with the one used by NAV and the other way around actually. So this SQL server will run for the Sharepoint only. So it done. So now I want to run the configuration wizard, and there's really not much to do in here. Just gave me a warning that I needed to restart the Internet Information Service potentially. But now it's configuring the Sharepoint, and it's setting up a new administration database and so on for the Sharepoint install here. That's in the last step of installing the Sharepoint. It's finalizing the product configuration, and after this one everything is ready to actually use the NAV Sharepoint or install the NAV Sharepoint client. Right now Sharepoint site is opening for the first time. It's a lot like NAV. It needs to compile all the C# pieces and actually get it working. But here's now Sharepoint installed in here. Before installing NAV, it's always a good option to run Windows Update, because this Sharepoint version is pretty old, and there's a lot of updates to it compared to this one. So if I go run the Windows Update, so there's 4 updates, and I would just go ahead and run all those ones. There's also some optional updates, and I'll wait a little with the SQL service packs here that take a long time. So I'll just click OK and install the updates. So the update's finished, so it's now time to go install the NAV component. So if I go to the NAV setup, add or remove components, and I'll add the portal framework for SharePoint in here and say run from my computer, and then I'll run the installer as normal. There's no difference in here, it's just my port number that was added as extra parameters. Still have the warning about I don't have Outlook on this computer. And if I look at the report again, still only the Outlook add-in, so everything installed fine. So let's go open up SharePoint, and I can get to that simply by typing localhost here now. Again, it's compiling C# code to .NET assemblies as it has been before. So I can now go in, add a new page. And this one would be a Nav customer list. I want to insert a web part. And under miscellaneous, I have an NAV web part in here. I open up the tools pane. And now I can select which page in NAV I want to attach this to, and I would do it to my customer list. Click OK. And now I get the Kronos warning. And I'll just hit OK to that one. And it for some reason come up and say that page has been expired, but if I just hit F5, I will see my customer list now in SharePoint, and now the client is installed. If I go to a second one in here, and I want to use the web client that is already installed in here, for some reason the install of the SharePoint client messes up that install, but the script that is available on mergetool.com site on the download tab, go here on the download, this script will actually solve the problem, and I already downloaded that in here, so I have it here in my computer, and I'll just run this one as administrator down here, and it will now go correct the settings again that was changed by SharePoint, by the SharePoint install. See, it failed communicating with NAV in here, so that's fine. Let's close all this one, because we're going to open it again when everything is finished here. So the last step of the correction now is restarting the Internet Information Server, and it will restart the NAV server also. Then it launches web client. Should come up with the Kronos International warning, and I'm now in the row center in here. So if I go now look at my SharePoint client instead, that is just the regular HTTP port. I'll go do the same test again to see if Nav is also working in here. Just add a new page. Go add my web part. Open up the tools. Select my customer list again. And I'll just, so that basically show now both the web client and the SharePoint client works at the same time by running these correctional scripts in here. So that's basically conclude the install of the SharePoint client. It's a pretty long process with all the updates, but most of it is just waiting.